Hey, Roger Martin here for Billings, Montana. Now we're going to find out how Q is connected with General Flynn and Trump and military intelligence, and how 60,000 subpoenas are coming out, and how Uber's connected with that, and so forth. Listen up.
Kind of your take on, for the people who don't believe, like, what would you say to these people?
Well, I think Q represents a group of U.S. military intelligence officials that are very close to the Trump administration. And they were set up by Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn was Trump's first national security advisor. Flynn previously was the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency. And interestingly enough, the Defense Intelligence Agency was the agency responsible for this document that I was talking about that talked about Tesla and so forth. So Flynn is involved in all of that. He knows all of that. So he was the one that set up around Trump a group of people that would basically provide him high-level intelligence about what is really going on and would protect him and basically insulate him from the efforts from the deep state to kind of like compromise him and take him down, which is why Flynn became a target immediately. So they did take down Flynn, but it was kind of like in taking him down, they didn't take down the system that Flynn had set up around Trump. And so when Trump began to retaliate against the deep state, who were leaking all of these classified documents, he activated this group of military intelligence officials around him that had been basically installed by Michael Flynn, and he activated them and used them to start seeding into the public what's going down, what the deep state's plans were doing. And there's been some real amazing revelations from Q. One that is particularly important for me, and which we actually discussed, was the ballistic missile attack in Hawaii on January 13 of this year. Q actually talked about that a number of times, saying that this was a false flag attack that had been orchestrated by this kind of rogue submarine associated with the deep state's secret navy. Now, one of the things that Q had done was that 6 days before the Hawaii missile alert, so this is on January 6th, January 7th, so this is 6 days before the January 13th false missile alert, Q posted.
They wanted to create World War III on January 7th of 2017, but it was taken down, and they wanted to have North Korea as the Ponzi for that. Can you believe that? And it was stopped by U.S. military intelligence working against the deep state, which Flynn helped set up.
Posted several posts saying that there was a DEFCON 1 situation which would be averted. So a DEFCON 1 situation, what is that? Well, that is a nuclear attack against the United States. So 6 days before that missile alert, Q was actually posting that there would be a DEFCON 1 situation that would be averted. So, don't worry, we got it all under control. So what QAnon was saying was that basically then the Trump administration knew that there was plans to go ahead with launching a missile attack against Hawaii, which was intended to start World War III by pinning the blame on North Korea. But the Trump administration was ready. So when it happened, the ballistic missile that was shot by this rogue CIA submarine off the coast of North Korea, it was shot down by the Air Force Secret Space Program. So Trump was aware of all of this. QAnon was advising him. And so this is the way in which QAnon has been operating, is giving Trump advanced knowledge on all of the things that the deep state is planning to do. Because, the deep state can only survive by implementing these false flag attacks. But if Trump is getting advanced knowledge on these false flag attacks, then he can neutralize these attacks. So that's what's been happening. So this is why Trump is one step ahead of the game. And right now, QAnon has been talking about these secret indictments that are going to be unsealed, very, very shortly. That there have been these secret grand jury investigations that have been issuing sealed indictments. Now the count is over 60,000 of these.
Yep.
Over 60,000 sealed indictments are coming out. Guantanamo has been built up. $200 million has been spent on it. 100 military officers. So it's all coming out. The deep state is getting put underneath the wraps, and they're cutting off the money at the deep state.
An incredible number, and it kind of seems like, how can this possibly be? But you look at Q's recent posts, just the last couple of days, where he talks about what's been happening at Guantanamo. They're sending military police over to Guantanamo. Over 100 more have been just sent over to Guantanamo to start a long-term deployment. They've built facilities in Guantanamo for new courthouses and to host all of these military police, and for hosting up to 30,000 new detainees in these hut cities there in Guantanamo. So you have to ask yourself, who are they going to house? Is Hillary and the team going there?
Well, and then aside from that, then
30,000 people, these hut cities. Wow.
Trump tweets that image out with all of those, like all of the people behind bars, right? And then all of this is happening at the same time. So it's like, and then Bush dies. And then, so it's just like, wow, it really seems like he's just completely trolling everybody and knows exactly what's going on. But I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was one of my next questions. But why don't you go right in, this leads right into the next question.
So yeah, we actually wanted to, kind of our final question on this episode was actually about the Clinton Foundation. So basically after the election, donations dropped almost 60%. It seems to show us that there was definitely some shady deals going on. And we really wanted to know about the Clinton Foundation and if you think it's still relevant today.
Right. Well, the Clinton Foundation was, from its inception, a kind of pay-to-play scheme for laundering a lot of money. This is one of the things that the deep state has become very proficient at, is setting up front organizations where they can actually launder a lot of money that goes into the deep state's assets. Because, the deep state, for kind of having these their own kind of like satellite system with all these advanced weapons and underground military bases and a secret fleet with, all of that costs a lot of money. Mm-hmm. They're certainly not going to get it from Congress. So where do they get it from? Well, they get it from all of these illicit activities, the drug trade, kind of pump and dump schemes on Wall Street, kind of like, pharmaceutical industry scams. So they use all of these.
So listen where they get the money. The pharmaceutical scams, the pump and dump on Wall Street, the drug trade, these phony corporations like the Clinton Foundation, all these things and more to get this illicit money to build their programs of control.
These kind of like front activities, all these organizations. And so the Clinton Foundation was, from the very beginning, part of this kind of like architecture of CIA front companies and organizations that are designed principally to raise a lot.
CIA front companies. The CIA is deeply involved in the deep state and has been a right-hand arm for propaganda, funneling money, trafficking money, and doing other things to fund the deep state.
A lot of money for the deep state's assets and projects and programs and so forth. And of course, the Clintons themselves do quite well, as do any others involved in the drug trade or Wall Street pump and dump. They kind of skim off some cream at the top, a couple of percent. But if we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars being filtered through these things,
hundreds of billions of dollars going through these schemes. Think of that.
a couple of percent, can make you a multi-millionaire or a billionaire. So this is what was happening with the Clintons. But the thing was, for the success of the Clinton Foundation in being able to do this and raising a lot of funds for the deep state, was that the Clintons were perceived to be very good at being able to generate a lot of kind of like legitimate white world funds to go through the Clinton Foundation, which would be kind of like the cover for a lot of the other money that the deep state was pouring through the Clinton Foundation into all of these programs that they were doing. And of course, as the Clintons lost power, as investigations began, then a lot of the funding for the Clinton Foundation started to disappear. And of course, when you look at the statistics, right there you have evidence that the Clinton Foundation was really just a pay-to-play scheme designed for politicians around the world to kind of like make large donations and leverage their kind of donations in terms of access to a lot of classified information that the Clintons were able to get through their access to, say, the Five Eyes agreement, where they had all of the information that the Five Eyes countries were able to gather through the Five Eyes surveillance, the NSA documents. This was something that the Clintons could kind of like divvy off to different major nations to kind of like get the intelligence. But all of that has unraveled, and now what we are seeing in the next, actually tomorrow, is that John Huber, the man Jeff Sessions appointed to look into the Clinton Foundation's shenanigans here, that John Huber is going to give his first report to Congress on the Clinton Foundation, that there are at least 2 whistleblowers with supporting documents.
Now, unfortunately, nothing has come out with Hoover. They've shut him up somehow or threatened him, and nothing's coming out. But that doesn't matter. The military intelligence has all this information to prosecute anyhow. So it doesn't matter if Hoover comes out with anything or not.
Documentation talking about what was really going on in the Clinton Foundation. And so this is where many people now believe that the rubber's about to hit the road in terms of the whole sealed indictments, the Clinton Foundation, Trump signaling Clinton and Loretta Lynch and Mueller and Comey and Obama, all of these figures shown behind bars. Now we're going to start seeing that with the Clinton Foundation, because John Huber is a federal prosecutor for the state of Utah that was empowered by Jeff Sessions to basically investigate and start prosecutions against anyone involved in any illegal activities that were identified by the different House committees that were concerned about some of the things.
Again, they got to Huber somehow. He's not doing a dang thing. So someone else will be appointed to take over his place who will do something. One way or another, it will get done.
Things that were occurring during the Obama administration. So John Huber has the power of prosecuting, and he has other prosecutors assisting him. They were all given authority by Jeff Sessions. And then you have 470 investigators from the Office of Inspector General to basically provide Huber all of the investigatory power he needs. So all of that's going to start coming out on February 5th.
February 5th?
December 5th.
December 5th.
I'm sorry, December 5th.
Yeah, okay.
So actually, what do you predict is going to happen? Do you have any predictions for that? I mean, you covered some of it, but I'm just curious.
Well, and also by the time this episode is released, which
It
will
will
be
be
it'll
past
pass this
December
too.
5th,
So
yeah.
it'll be past December 5th.
Well, I think December 5th is going to be a critical date, just because this is when Cuba first appears, and he's going to be shown to be someone who has real investigatory powers, who has been conducting an investigation for over a year now into all of these range of issues that the Republican committees in the House of Representatives has identified, including the Clinton Foundation. So this is when it's going to become very, very clear that all of the things that Q has been talking about, the sealed indictments, the grand jury investigations, people being tried in military courts, being held in Guantanamo, the deep state being involved in pedophilia, kind of sex crimes, abuses, even the whole satanic practices, all of this stuff that Q has been talking about for a year now, that has real teeth to it. And now these people involved in these things are going to be tried. And their power was always the people that were running or behind the deep state and running all of these illicit programs. Their power was always the power of intimidation and fear, and that all of their assets in the deep state complied because they thought the deep state had power. But with the Huber going forward on December 5th, that basically let the cat out amongst the pigeons. Now it's like, okay, the real power is not in the deep state. It's in this Q phenomenon and the people's movement behind it. And that's where the real power is, because the US military and the Trump administration are working with the people, which is why Trump has been doing these mass rallies, and because he is showing that the people are behind the Trump administration, that the US military has Trump's back, and that QAnon is dumping all of the real intel on what's going on. So I think December 5 will be remembered as the day everything changed on the planet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we'll see as time comes on here in this next year. But the indictments, 60,000 indictments, according to Q, are coming out. That's a lot of indictments. And the George W. Bush funeral indictments were given out there. Wow, this next year is going to be a world-changing year. This is Roger Martin from Village, Montana. Good day.